Hi, I'm attorney Gregory Dell, joined today by attorney Cesar Gavidia, and our disability benefit lawyer tip of the day is that a private individual disability insurance policy is better than a group ERISA disability insurance policy. And Cesar, for people who don't know what these two policies are, that's kind of a technical nuance of information, and we have created articles and graphics and information discussing the differences between these two, but why, in your opinion, in my opinion as well, that given the choice, would you want to have an individual disability policy?
Sure. So, the disability policy that you have that's ensuring these really important benefits, basically your future income if you become disabled, it's only as good as the terms and conditions that that policy contains and the law that applies to that policy. So in general, the employee provided disability policy, these policies that are governed by this federal law called ERISA, you're not going to find those really specific terms and conditions that are pretty much the gold standard when it comes to a disability insurance policy, like a private individual policy, like you were saying. In those policies, you're finding true own occupation language. In other words, you're being insured for disability in your own occupation from, which results from a sickness or an injury, possibly for your lifetime, depending on the riders that apply to that policy that you've purchased. The point is that there's options there, and there's options that you've bargained for and that you kind of customized to your situation. And that's what really makes an individual disability policy the gold standard and much better than a group or ERISA disability policy that's provided through your employer. You kind of got to see, look, the private disability policies are costly in general. Group ERISA policies sometimes are provided by your employer and you don't pay anything for them, or you're paying a very low premium. So yeah, look, if that's the only thing that you have the access to because of a pre-existing condition, or you just simply can't afford an individual disability policy, then of course that's what you have, and that's good.
Well, I always talk about individual disability policies as being like buying a car. You can get all different kinds of options. You can get a bigger engine, you can get leather, no leather, sunroof, all kinds of options. The same thing with individual policy, whereas the group, you just get whatever that employer got. Now, the employer can negotiate and try to get better terms, but you're going to get stuck with whatever the employer gets. And then there's a different set of laws that apply to it as well, because if the claim is denied, if both policies, individual and the group ERISA, have the same language, the law that applies is going to be completely different between the individual and the group. And so the individual, is a breach of contract action, which means as soon as they deny you, usually you can go ahead and sue them right away in court. And with the ERISA, right away, if they deny you, you have to do an appeal, and you have to appeal back to the same company that already denied your claim. And then even if you lose, you never get a jury trial. There's no punitive damages. There's no bad faith. You may get attorney's fees if you prevail, and it's a judge making a decision, as opposed to the opportunity to go to a jury trial in an individual policy where you do have a jury, you may have punitive damages, you may have bad faith, you may get an award of attorney's fees. And so big differences there. You have almost no teeth with ERISA, but you have teeth with the individual disability policy. And then the other thing is about the amount of benefits you can usually get with an individual policy versus what you can get on group. And one of the other things is why I always think it's better is talk about the portability of an individual policy and this morphing of the definition of own occupation versus what happens when someone has with their employer and then they leave that employer.
Sure. So, if you have a ERISA group disability policy, an employee benefit through your employer, and you decide either you're leaving or they terminate you, that's it. That policy only goes as far as your last day of work for that employer. Right. Sometimes there's the ability to port the policy and get it under it, but that's kind of a whole different topic of conversation, and that doesn't apply across the board. That's unique cases. With an individual policy, it follows you around regardless of what employment you're in, regardless of what your occupation is in general. It will follow you whether you're an attorney one day and then let's say not related to disability, you decide you're going to work as a teacher after that, and now you're a teacher or a professor. Right. That policy has now followed you into that profession. Nothing else is really usually required. You don't have to inform the insurance company that you've gone now and you're working as a teacher or a professor. It's transitioned with you. And that's the advantage of that, really. It's that ability to bring that along with you, keep that along with you as long as you remain working, and it protects you.
Right, so there's tremendous, a lot more opportunities with the individual policy than there are with the ERISA group, which is another significant advantage. Now, like I mentioned, you can click through to our website and read articles about the differences between the two, and then also there's a lot less companies that write individual disability policy than those that write group, and so there's reviews and things like that of the different companies that a person could look at if they're interested to see which are the better companies, and we have feedback and opinions about all of these companies. So, you know, we do these videos all the time. We talk about every single company, so for someone who's interested to learn about their particular company, they can go to our website and check that out. And we're always putting out new videos to help people become educated about disability insurance in general, as well as about every single specific company. So if there's ever any questions you have about a disability insurance claim, no matter what stage it's at, feel free to call Cesar, myself, any of our disability lawyers. No matter where you live in the country, we're available to help you with your claim. And when you call us, you'll always speak to a lawyer. We look forward to the opportunity to answer your questions and help you in the future should you need us.